This is Socializing Fearful and Aggressive Cats Part 2, where I will show you step by step how to gentle cats of different temperaments. So, what is gentling? When working with cats, it's the act of gently stroking and vocalizing with them. Some cats may take right to this type of socialization, while others may need more time to be comfortable with human interaction. Each cat is different, and you cannot assume a cat is social or unsocial without properly assessing them. Here is the spectrum of fear, anxiety, and stress in cats, FAS for short. This chart will help you better assess and recognize cat body language at each stage. It's important to see how the cat is acting after being transported to a new environment. Some cats may act very different. Some may be more curious, while others become scared. Here I am assessing a cat before I open his cat den. You can see he is displaying a level 1 FAS because his ears are up and forward, his pupils are not very dilated, and he is looking around the room instead of straight at me. He's also in a relaxed position and not crouched in the back of the box. I talk to him, let him smell me through the air holes, and see how he reacts to my hand coming towards him. You can see he gives little reaction to my hand and is giving off relaxed body language, so I'd feel comfortable opening his carrier at this point. I test this multiple times to see how he reacts to my hand, and he even smells my hand through the plexiglass, letting me know he's very curious. At no point does he hiss, growl, or swat at me through his box. After he gave me those subtle signs, I offered him some treats through the air holes, which he readily ate, which is also a great sign of a relaxed cat. I start by slowly opening his kennel box while continuing to talk to him softly. I sit with some space between us, though. Notice how I have the towel positioned in front of the kennel as well as on top of me, so that in case he decided to lunge at me, I could quickly pull it up and protect myself. I give him a minute to look around his new environment before I attempt to pet him. As he's smelling around the room, there were some noises outside the room that startled him. It's very important to remember that when socializing a cat for the first time, do not attempt to pet or restrain them when there are loud noises or excessive distractions, as this could startle them even more or make them aggressive. Once he stands back up, I offer him the back of my hand, letting him smell me first, and I initiate contact with the top of his head and around his neck. He leans into my hand and stretches a little, letting me know that he is comfortable with this interaction. When he does back away, I do not reach for him. Notice how I only pet him for a few seconds each time as to not overstimulate him. Again, while he's hiding in his box, I reach for him, and because he does not back away, I slowly pet the top of his head, and then I wait for him to come towards me again until I pet him again. This cat is a level 2 to 3 on the FAS score chart. Because her ears are up and alert, her pupils are more dilated, and her eyes are more shifty. Her face and body are tense, and her paws and tail are tucked underneath her, as she does not readily come out of her carrier. I offer my hand for her to smell, and at first she does not, but she does not wince or lean away when I do, telling me she might be okay with me touching her, but I do not want to force it on her. It's important to know that you should not attempt to remove a cat from the front of a carrier of this style, as it is very difficult and stresses them out even more. Instead, you should take the carrier apart or move the cat from the top opening if there is one. Again, I offer my hand towards her. She leans towards me, gently smelling me, letting me know that although she's anxious and hesitant, she's also curious and seemingly not aggressive, so I give her a brief pet around her neck. After using a towel to carefully restrain her on the inside of her carrier, I remove her from the top opening and lay her next to me on the bench. I continue to talk softly and gently and pet her. She is seen laying flat against the bench, somewhat frozen, but not hissing, growling, or showing any signs of aggression. Here is that same cat after only 3 sessions of gentling and socializing, and she has opened up tremendously and now allows me to pet her all over as she rubs against me, clearly having a positive and enriching time outside of her kennel. This cat was demonstrating level 2 fear, anxiety, and stress. So, although she's scared, we are not aggressive, and I felt comfortable letting her out on her own. I was also able to pick this cat up with a towel without issues, but that is not shown right here. I talked to her softly and opened up her box. I reached for her a few times, but she does not seem interested in petting. She jumps out of her box on her own, and I let her explore her new environment for a moment before I proceed to approach her slowly with my towel. And just as before, I wrap her in the towel to pick her up. I like to keep the cats wrapped in towels because it not only keeps her contained, but it keeps her from accidentally scratching me, and it also makes them feel more safe and secure. Once wrapped in a kitty burrito, I sit her on the bench next to me against my leg, all while talking to her softly and petting her gently around her head and her neck. Here I am approaching a cat that jumped out of his box before I had a chance to fully assess him. Slowly, I approach him with my mini hand tool. This type of crouching and hiding behavior is usually seen in cats with moderate FAS levels, so 2 and 3, who are scared but not aggressive. He does not react much to me petting him, which leads me to believe I could likely handle him without issues. So I grab my towel and I approach him slowly in the corner. Again, he just tries to hide his face, and I slowly place the towel on him. It's easiest to capture a cat once they are cornered, and placing a towel over them first helps freeze them in place. I check to locate where his head is as I wrap him in the towel. He meows a few times, but does not hiss or growl. Once he is secure, I sit him next to me on the bench and gently pet his head while talking to him softly. He is okay with this and proves to not be aggressive. Here is a cat who was displaying level 5 FAS behavior, some extreme aggressive behavior inside her kennel. But as you can see, we are much more relaxed outside of the kennel environment. Here I am simply assessing her behavior while she is safely behind the plexiglass. She's not tucked in the back of her box, her ears are in neutral position, and her pupils are not dilated. She's also not intently watching me, and her body is less tense. All are signs of a more relaxed cat. However, we are also lip licking, which tells me she's still anxious. I reach my hand towards her and see how she reacts, and she has little reaction, letting me know I can safely open her box. And this video shows me attempting to pet this cat for the very first time. Here I have opened her box, but sit away from her to give her space. She's positioned herself towards the front of the opening. Again, our ears are neutral, eyes are soft, and she does not react much to my hand moving towards her. Seeing how they react to your hand coming to them from different angles is a good way to assess them. I also do not try to approach her while people walk by or when there are other distractions, as cats can become very reactive to loud noises. If you watch closely, you can see as I reach towards her, she does what's called a slow half blink. This can be indicative of a friendly cat when paired with the other behaviors I just mentioned. Again, I reach towards her slowly. She does not wince at my hand coming towards her. So once those people have exited the building, I keep talking to her softly. Again, she does the slow half blink, so I go for the first pet. She leans into my hand, letting me know that she's okay with it. I continue to pet only the top of her head until she's more used to me, all while talking to her gently. Here is that same cat about 25 minutes later. She slowly came out of the box on her own, laid against me. The more I pet her and the more I talked to her, the more she opened up and enjoyed this out of kennel enrichment time. Here is a perfect example of a cat that is giving subtle signs that you should not reach in and touch them. Her ears are up and her pupils are not fully dilated, but she's further back in her box and has a slightly increased respiratory rate. She appears to do the slow half blink, however, pay close attention when I reach my hand towards her. As my hand gets closer to her, she immediately turns and faces it and closely watches what I'm doing. Her pupils slightly dilate, and you can see her body tense up and lean away ever so slightly. I try a few times just to see what she does, and again, she leans away and winces. And because of that, I do not force my hand towards her. This is a cat that would likely swat at me if I tried to pet her. Instead, I use my mini hand tool to get her used to being touched. I slowly place it in the box with her, and I inch it closer to her every few seconds until it's touching her. Then I leave it there for her to get used to. Eventually, I slowly work my way to petting her with this tool. Although not shown here, this cat did swat and bite at the hand tool when the first time I touched her. This is a cat that will need a lot more patience as it will take a lot longer to be able to touch her. Here is a cat that is displaying extreme fear and freeze behavior. He is so frozen in fear that I am able to pet him with the hand tool with little to no reaction. As you can see, we are tucked in the box as far as possible, our pupils are dilated, and we are intently watching me. However, there is no growling, hissing, spitting, or swatting, indicating this cat will likely not be aggressive and is just frozen in fear. Because he was in that frozen state, I was able to slowly wrap a towel around him and pull him out of his box. Be careful though, because cats that display this type of behavior can quickly switch into flight mode, meaning if they see an opportunity to escape, they will bolt. This is why I make sure to keep one hand on him at all times, using the towel to secure him in place. Again, I gently wrap him in the towel, petting under his head and around his chin. And instead of letting him hide his face in the towel, I lift up his chin so he can look around and see the room and help him gain more confidence. After about 30 minutes of gentling with him, he finally started opening up and eventually started kneading the towel and purring. You can see our ears are no longer flat, our eyes are softer, and our body is not as tense. All signs of a much more relaxed cat. Even still, I keep him close and in the towel, all while talking to him softly. Here we see a cat with some severe fear, anxiety, and stress levels. She is watching my every move with dilated pupils and continually hisses and growls at me while licking her lips. Again, this is what extreme fear and anxiety looks like. We can see this cat actively trembling inside her box with increased respiratory rate. She is squished in the back as far as possible and watching my every move. This is a cat that needs a lot of time to be worked with. However, this cat may do best as a community cat outside. In conclusion, the reality is the majority of shelter cats, especially those who are owner surrendered, need positive human interactions to have their emotional needs met. And in fact, a lot of them desperately crave human attention as they came from a home environment. Gentling and socialization does work. Each cat that I worked with improved their FAS score by at least 2 points, and the time it took to lower their score progressively got shorter with each session. I also want to mention that some of the most severe behavior was produced by owner surrendered cats, likely due to their extreme frustration after being moved from a home environment and into the shelter. But not a single owner surrendered cat acted aggressive towards me once outside their carriers in the showroom. A little TLC can go a long way with these cats. And it's important to know that fearful does not mean leave me alone. In fact, cats that are hiding away in the back of their kennels are those who tend to desperately need the most attention. I encourage you to practice these techniques to help you improve a shelter cat's welfare and become more confident in handling cats. Thanks for watching.